Yeah, and everybody else joining. We are previewing the next fixture, which will be taking place on Saturday in the Western Cape Province. It will be Stellenbosch FC coming up against SuperSport United. And we are joined by Coach Gavin Hunt from the away side just to preview that fixture. Coach, maybe just your opening remarks, your thoughts on the opposition, and of course, an opportunity for SuperSport United to reach the semi-final this weekend.
Is that a question or what must I say?
Just your thoughts heading into the match.
My thoughts? Oh, yeah, we get in the plane, we go play, come back. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
But your thoughts on the opposition?
The opposition tough. They haven't lost in 19 or games. They're on a good run. So under no illusion, it's going to be a tough game. We're away from home, so yeah, we've got to prepare. You know, at least we've had a week preparing, so we're looking forward to the game.
And then how do you approach it? Do you just go all out? Play like an away side? Obviously, it's a cup game. It's different to the league.
Yeah, you kick off. The whistle goes. You kick off. How do we approach it? Yeah, we obviously we're going to try and get a team out there. Obviously, conditions will play a big part, you know. So hopefully you'll get a calmer day than it's been there the last couple of days. So, and then obviously your tactical approach will change according to the conditions, those type of things. So we'll see, you know. It is a rugby pitch, so it is always difficult to play there. So we might have to, you know. But we'll see. You know, you can always, we'll have a couple of ways of trying to do things before we get there. Yeah.
Thank you, Coach. Let's take questions from the floor. Sikarabos,
Good afternoon, Coach. How are you?
Hi.
Coach, you've got a really young squad. I think probably one of the youngest in our league. And results over the last couple of weeks have been so much beautiful. What is it that you're learning from these characters of young players in the team? Considering that it's a bit of a difficult time. What experiences have you seen that they're learning through this difficult time that they're going through as a team?
Yeah, you know, I think it always happens with young players. You know, you're going to get ups and downs, and you're going to get. But they're all working hard. They, you know, we have to learn on the job. So sometimes you can learn by, you know, be taken out. But that's the policy of our club, and that's what we, you know, the future. So we got to be looking at that. And but I don't think there's been, you know, we've had a couple of draws, that's for sure, which certainly should have turned into wins and would have made us second easily, but it wasn't to be. But I think we'll come out of this at the better, the players. But I do think, you know, when you get young players who've come from winning a lot, and now you got a lot of things change. You know, so it'll take a little bit of time. But they, as I said, I can't fault them. They've been good, you know, and they will get better. There's no doubt they'll get better.
Robin Junk.
Coach, how envy are you of them? You know, when you look at up top, their speed is quite incredible. And we spoke about this 20 game of unbeaten Nedbank Cup. How wary are you of that, and how envy of you of how they play Stellenbosch?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they think the same about us, what we do. So I don't think it's. I think the most important is to not worry what you do yourself. Try and work on how we want to play, what we're trying to do, and try and get better at that. But I don't think we're well aware, you know. But they're also well aware, you know, our record against them. So that means nothing in these type of games. But you know, as I said, we'll go in there totally against the grain because they've been unbeaten. They've had a good run. I mean, I don't know how many things, 18 or 19 games or something like that. So we under no illusions how tough it's going to be. But you know, we're a team that can. And as I say, these 5 draws or 6 draws we've had now and a loss, I mean, that could have been turned the other way very easily, you know, and then we would have been smiling. We're not, but we haven't played badly, so that's important. Keep doing the same things and keep trying to get better at what we try and do, and yeah, obviously try and get our best 11 out there.
Let's move on to Mazola.
Coach,
Don't you people have any work to do at the back then? It must be boring listening to the same things.
Auntie, obviously over the past couple of months you've spoken about how difficult the season has been in Africa. Is it an absolute necessity to then go all the way in this cup to sort of salvage it to some degree? And that the message, do the players get that? Because with a few games left in the league and obviously in this cup, it could go either way. If you keep losing, obviously you drop out of
Yeah.
the table.
Yeah.
You don't get a cup competition at all.
I think if you look at the league, I think between sort of second and sixth or seventh, we got our own little league going there, you know, and we certainly were top of that league 5 games ago. So we've got behind the 8 ball a little bit there, but still we got time to catch up there. I do think if you look at the fixtures that's coming up, and I think there's a lot of teams that I don't think they can play any better, and we can't play any worse. You know what I'm saying? So I think we can improve from that perspective. But the proof is in the pudding. We've got to do it. So that's another thing. The cup is always obviously keeps the Nedbank Cup, all the cups over the years from my time, from the Mainstay Cup, and you always try and keep going because it's the last game of the season. You know, so you want to try and keep going, but you've got to get through the rounds. And we've had a tough draw this year. Last year we had an easy draw. We lost. So easier draw, and so yeah, we'll take it one step at a time and try and get through on Saturday, and try and do the best we can if we can keep it going. Playing against very difficult opposition, I think it's certainly one of the form sides at the moment. You know, there's no doubt about it. I don't know. I mean, you know, yeah. If you won after the game, then they got it. You know, it's very. I think this time, when you get to this time of the season, I think it's not about what you do in the training, because that's all should have been set in stone. But it's about the mental, you know, preparation for games. And we've been busy, especially us, the last couple of months. Which is now this is the first week. I think we haven't played a midweek game. Next week it starts again, which is fine. So you want to stay in the cup because it'll keep you going. You know what I'm saying? As long as possible. Do the players get it? You never know. You know. But I say one thing with our team is never for a lack of trying. That's for sure. So I think we do get it, but it's important that you know. And sometimes you just need a bounce here and there. But I think we get it. I do think we get it. Yeah, I do think so.
Danie?
Coach, we were with Tyson 2 weeks ago and he spoke about how you are now using psychological tactics to get to the younger players, offering Chandra 1,000 rand if he scored after doing an ice bath. How often do you find yourself having to get into the heat psychologically, especially the younger players where you now add these kind of incentives, not necessarily money, but finding different ways of motivating them just to get that consistency from them and to get them performing?
I'm a big one on this. I think if I have to motivate football players who get paid to get played, I think then I'm in the wrong job. I think we shouldn't be motivating football players. There should be a self-inner motivation. When you're playing sport at the highest level and you're playing for your living, there shouldn't be somebody with a stick with a motivation or not you know, I'm just... Obviously, we need to say things and do things, but there's got to be that self-inner motivation. And I think if you look at a lot of our young players, they've got that. And that's the question you asked there. You know, do they get it? I think they've got it. But it's about switching it on, switching it off, switching it. You know what I'm saying? Every game, try and go down, go up. And that's important because, you know, you'll see, especially in South Africa, there's a lot of teams that, you know, play certainly above their level in the cup. And not so well in the league. There's a lot of teams do that, you know, and it's been proved over the years. And cup competitions always proves that. Why are they not doing the same in the league, you know? I mean, there's teams that made this final that got relegated, I think, maybe, yes, once or twice, yeah. So, I mean, Gallants, I think they even got relegated. They made the final 2 years ago, I think. So, these type of things are you know, you need the youth of today. Certainly, they do lack that. They lack that because of it's changing, it's evolving. The world is changing all the time, and we as coaches have to change. If I don't change, I'm going to get left behind. So I've had to evolve myself. You know, these things. You know, it was never in our time. You know what I'm saying? So we need to evolve and evolve with the young players, and there is different motivation that does motivate them differently. You know, and I don't think money is one of them now. In my day, you know, for 50 rand, you know, my grandmother was in trouble. You know what I mean? You know, kick her, that's for sure. You know? So yeah, it's motivation is definitely different now.
Okay, let's go to Velile, Temba, and then Jawood.
Thank you. Coach Vele from the CBC. Coach, you come from the Western Cape, and you grew up playing football in that area as well. And I think even now as a head coach, there was a time you would like to take SuperSport or even People's Vets to go and have pre-season there in the Stellenbosch area as well. But ever since there's been a professional team there and engaging even people at Stellenbosch, they talk more about the community and what the club there has been able to do, and also with the talent that is growing up from that space and the influence as well. Just as someone who's been there and interested, what can you say about the progress this team has made, not only in the province, but particularly in that area and for the communities?
Well, Idas Valley is a huge catchment area, you know. If you look there, even further afield, you know, on the other side as well. So there's a lot of talent that's come out there over the years. The guys I played with, you know, Reggie and people like that, who's passed away now. That's Reggie Janji, you guys wouldn't know, in the 80s. You know? Philip Laters, Julian Johnson. There's a wealth of talent that's come out of that area. It's played for professional clubs. So, yeah, they've certainly got there's a niche there. They've got a little opportunity there, a window there because of the catchment area, you know, which they've done great about. And the club is, you know, Rob and Steve and these guys have done brilliantly there, you know. But that's also come with sustainability and, you know, and longevity. You know, he's been there, so you can build, you know, these type of things. So they've done great, and the proof was obviously them winning the what is it, the Carling Cup?
Yeah.
Now in December. So, you know, it's a lot of work going behind the scenes. They're in a good position in the league. You know, they've sold well, which is important. You know, they've bought well, which is important. I mean, Rayners changed their whole season from last year. They were bottom of the league midway, and they haven't looked back since he's gone there from us, you know. So these type of things they've done well in the market, and you've got to commend them the way they've run the club. So yeah, there's no coincidence or fluke that they are where they are. But obviously, we're a club that needs to get back there again, doing it another way, you know, our way. So I think we're fighting in the same space.
Okay, Temba, can you give him the mic?
Temba Shamana, Joseph from Sports. Coach, I'm looking at the squad composition. Yes, you've got a dominant force in the younger ones, but you also have senior players like your Basera, your Tyson. Those players have won trophies before in their own right, whether it's SuperSport or away from SuperSport. But how much is it of a plus for you to have senior players that come through with the winning mentality, and how much influence is it that they bring into the squad, looking at the young players that you have when it comes to this crunch time of the tournament where it is either they win or they're out?
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't think the younger players realize, you know, the opportunity that they've got right now. They will, you know, as you go on, you realize more. But I think the older players, I mean, they do my job for me. I always say the strength of any team is the strength of the dressing room in terms of the core strength of the values of what you put, the values that we put into a team, the values we put into a club. and a manager you don't run the dressing room. The players run the dressing room. So you shouldn't. If a coach has to run the place, and then we got a problem. So you need the core values, you need the discipline, the rules, the regulations. This is how we do things at a club, and the senior players run it. I'll make sure of that. Putting the shoulder to the wheel a little bit, and they need to understand sometimes because you play in the higher level, you're not going to have the ball as much as you used to have the ball. Does that make sense? So you're going to have to work a little bit harder, you know what I mean? And keep your disciplines and all the football terminology stuff that we do on the training ground. So these type of things doesn't come naturally to them because you've had a career from 12, 14, 16 where you won leagues, you won everything. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it's a different kettle of fish. So we have to become better without the ball. That's the first thing, and then we become better players. So those things take a little bit of time, and that doesn't matter. The older players, they know how to suffer. Same as an older coach. You take a loss, you take it hard, but a couple of hours and it's gone. Then you get on to the next one. So it's important we come out of it and try and come out of it, and maybe Saturday is a good opportunity.
Coach, just to build on that, I think right now in the PSL there's lots of younger players just being given an opportunity. I mean, Shangri's, Paulus, Mufugin. Just as an experienced coach, just how do we make sure that these youngsters that we have right now don't fall through the cracks? I think you would have seen some youngsters come up and they just fall through the cracks, like you said. And maybe also just a word on Fleurs. I think he's a player that you also do very well.
I mean, I could tell you the truth on this, but I won't.
Please tell us the truth.
No, I can't. I think it's financially. So you're going to give young clubs maybe can't buy players anymore. So we need to produce the youth more, because, I mean, it's really getting, big now. The transfer fees in South African football now is really going off the charts, so it's very difficult. So we need to produce our own and have our own little factory and then try and go from there. So I think you'll find a lot of clubs now will try and give their youth players a chance more than trying to look for players, you know what I'm saying? Salaries, transfer fees, those type of things. So because of the financial strain that is put on a lot of the clubs. That's just the basic. I think that basic. That's like a neutral answer, but I think that is the drift of the thing. So I think more and more, even next season, you'll see a lot of younger players coming through the system. Luke. I know Luke. I mean, I didn't. It's what's happened is absolutely tragic. I mean, we got news of it on Tuesday when it happened last week. So I mean, a lot's been said, so I don't want to really go there. But there was still a big career. He was a young boy. In his position, I always say centre backs only mature at 30. after, you know, you just look at the best centre-backs in the world, all over 30. So he's still got a long way to go, you know, and I'm sure he would have had a good career, especially at Chiefs, you know. So it's, yeah, it's tragic.
Okay, I'm looking for more hands if we do have any. Or we can, okay, Mazola from the SCBC. Can you just get the microphone?
Coach, can I ask a bit more of a preview of the game, what to expect, especially approaching the play in the league? Can you expect to see the same type of intensity, a bit more measured because it's a cup, or you go all out because it's a once-off?
Well, I think the approach changes when a goal goes in either way, doesn't it? In a cup game. You'll generally find that anywhere in the world, if a goal goes in either way, you know, and the approaches change maybe a little bit because you're not too concerned about, you know, certain things. I don't know, where you can still stick to the processes of what you're trying to do, and maybe change approach, you know, those type of things. Not that I'm saying you don't do that in a league game, but in a cup game. So those are the only really, you know, type of things change, and yeah. And I think the conditions play a big part, especially when you go down there. It's a different type of game, you know, everything's different there. So, yeah, so the approach, you know, I mean, I think the last time they lost there was us. We beat them there this year. And then they beat us in the cup, and then we drew with them last time. So, you know, it's pretty even, you know. It's pretty even.
All right. There's another hint. Fleurs.
Coach, you previously said that Stellies and you guys is a similar type of squad, you know, the makeup of the squad, some experience, some youth, but do you think the difference between you guys and them is that they have managed to put up a consistent starting over maybe the past 20 days now? And some players like the Luke that were promising for you guys, like Etios and Ronaldo, why hasn't he taken that next step this season?
I think that we've had a lot of, I hate to say this, is it bad luck with injuries? We had a lot of niggly little things, him especially. You know, he's been out a week or two here, a week or two there, so there's been no consistency with that type of thing. So it definitely, if you look at their starting 11 to our starting 11, has been a totally, you know, I'm trying to go per game, where they sort of, and that normally happens when a team is having a good running football. You watch any team that wins the league generally use less players. They generally keep the starting 11 the same. Anywhere in the world where the leagues are competitive, you know, teams that have a good run in a cup, it'll generally be the same sort of 11, 12, 13. There's not much changes, and it just happens like it anywhere in the world. The teams that change a lot obviously are looking for solutions, maybe in the wrong areas where it wasn't that bad when they lost, you know, and that type of thing. So that's more experience and obviously feel and check, and you know, so you've got to be very careful. But we've had certainly, and we're not blessed with certain areas where we've got one, and that's it, you know, and then we make shift a little bit. So it has been a problem for me, and as I say, compared to the opposition on Saturday, they certainly have kept. If you look at their defence, I mean, they've kept that same defence, and they're generally quite old, that whole defence, you know, and they've kept them going, which is quite a. I mean, they have got quite an old team, you know, if you look at it. So, but they've stuck it and they kept going, you know.
Okay, I think we'll end it here. Thank you very much, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
All the best for Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.